There is a particular kind of quiet that appears when nothing is pushing you anymore. Not relief, not collapse, just the absence of pressure. This episode is about what it's like to live when the internal force that once drove you has softened, and life is no longer being propelled by urgency, fear, or the need to become something. For a long time, many of us live with an internal push. It may not feel aggressive. It may even feel responsible, but it's there. A subtle force moving us forward, keeping us engaged, keeping us oriented toward improvement, progress, or resolution. We wake up with a sense that something needs to be done, not just practically, but internally. Something needs attention. Something needs fixing. Something needs to move. Even rest can feel conditional. Even pauses can feel temporary. But there may come a point when that push begins to fade. Not because life has become easier. Not because everything is resolved. But because the push itself is no longer required to keep life moving. At first, this can feel confusing. Without the push, there can be a sense of drift. A feeling that something essential has gone missing. You may wonder whether you've lost motivation, drive, or direction. But what's missing isn't life. What's missing is pressure. And pressure has a way of disguising itself as purpose. When the internal push softens, you may notice fatigue. Not the kind that sleep fixes, but a deeper tiredness that comes from years of effort finally being allowed to rest. This fatigue isn't a problem to solve. It's a signal that something has released. The body adjusts first. Movements become slower. Pauses last longer. There's less appetite for unnecessary stimulation or overextension. You may find yourself doing fewer things, not out of avoidance, but because fewer things feel required. Life doesn't feel empty. It feels quieter. And quiet can be unfamiliar when you're used to momentum. The mind may interpret this quiet as lack. It may suggest that you should be doing more, wanting more, striving again. It may reach for old structures to reintroduce direction. But nothing needs to be reinstated. Life is still happening. You're still responding to what's needed. You're still functioning. You're still engaged. The difference is that engagement no longer comes with an internal whip. You're not being driven. This can feel vulnerable. Without the push, there's no sense of being carried forward by force. You're meeting life directly, without adrenaline, without pressure, without the promise that effort will eventually pay off. But there's also honesty here. When nothing is pushing you, you discover what moves on its own. You may notice that some things continue naturally. You still get up. You still attend to responsibilities. You still respond to others. You still take care of what's in front of you. But other things fall away. Activities that relied on pressure lose their appeal. Obligations that were held together by fear or expectation begin to loosen. You're less willing to do things simply to maintain an image or identity. This isn't apathy. It's discernment without drama. When nothing is pushing you, effort changes character. Action becomes quieter. Decisions feel simpler. You're less concerned with optimization and more attentive to what's workable. You don't need to motivate yourself constantly. You don't need to prove your engagement. You act when something calls for action, and you rest when it doesn't. This can feel almost too simple. The mind may try to turn this into a philosophy or a stance, but it's not a position you take. It's what happens when effort is no longer inflated by fear. You may notice that days unfold with less internal commentary. You're not narrating your level of productivity. You're not tracking how motivated you feel. You're not comparing today to yesterday. You're simply moving through the day. There can be moments of boredom here, moments of restlessness, moments where the absence of pressure feels uncomfortable. Those moments don't mean something has gone wrong. They're part of the recalibration. A system that has lived under pressure for a long time doesn't immediately know what to do when that pressure lifts. It may search for something to push against, but over time, a new rhythm emerges. A rhythm based on responsiveness, not force. When nothing is pushing you, you may find that energy behaves differently. It comes in waves. It's not constant. It doesn't feel reliable in the way pressure-driven energy once did. But it's more honest. You don't override yourself as often. You don't push through just to maintain continuity. You listen more closely to capacity. This doesn't mean life slows to a halt. It means life moves at the speed it can sustain. There's a subtle trust that develops here. Trust that life doesn't need to be driven to continue. Trust that things will still happen even if you're not pushing them forward. This trust isn't philosophical. It's embodied. You feel it in the way you move. in the way you rest, in the way you respond without rehearsing. Nothing is pushing you, and life hasn't stopped. That recognition can feel grounding. You may still have goals. You may still plan. You may still work toward things. But the relationship to those movements has changed. They're not holding your sense of self together. They're just activities. This episode isn't about letting go of responsibility. It's about letting go of the pressure that once made responsibility feel heavy. You carry what's needed without being driven by fear of collapse. Ordinary life doesn't require propulsion. It requires participation. And participation doesn't need force. If you're listening to this and noticing that nothing seems to be pushing you lately, that you're less driven, less urgent, less compelled, you're not losing momentum. You're living without unnecessary pressure. If these reflections feel like something you can sit with, you're welcome to stay. Liking the video helps it reach others who may be uneasy about the absence of drive. And if you want to keep a steady space like this available, you can subscribe, not for motivation, but for companionship. If someone you care about seems less driven lately, less compelled to prove or push, you're welcome to share this with them, only if it feels right. Nothing needs to push you for life to move. Life already knows how.